So there's a feature in the new Microsoft Edge browser, and it's been available in Google Chrome now for many years, to install applications. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what that means and why you might want to do it. Now, I've been using this feature in the new Microsoft Edge since it's been available in the Dev and Canary channels, but recently, in the last couple of weeks I think it was, Microsoft released the beta version or the beta channel of their new Microsoft Edge browser, which is based on Chromium. So that means it's now at a stage where all the features that you'll find in the beta version are all pretty much stable. Microsoft has tested them. There are still some features in the Dev and Canary builds that haven't made it into beta, which will of course make it into the beta channel at some point. But I think now you can pretty much be confident that you can download the beta version and use it as your day-to-day browser. Now, this feature that I'm talking about that obviously comes from Google Chrome for installing apps, what does it allow you to do? So of course many people they're using, I don't know, Gmail or Outlook in the web browser, and they just have it open in another tab like any other web page. But what Chrome and the new Edge allows you to do is actually install that application from within the browser so that it operates in a completely separate window, and it doesn't even look like a browser window, and it kind of acts like it's an application. So rather than having that page buried in all of your, I don't know, 30 or 40 open tabs that you have in your browser, you get to see it as a separate application window. And it will appear on the taskbar, and when you click Alt-Tab, for instance, and you want to scroll through your open apps, you will see it as a separate app. Now, that may not seem like anything very exciting, but actually it's pretty important in terms of being able to manage your workflow. And that's what I do with many, even just websites actually, even if it's not an actual app. I install them as an app. Now, with the new Microsoft Edge, those apps also appear in your Start menu. You can pin them to the taskbar, and you can basically go to them like you would any other normal application. Now, what led me to actually start talking about that this week was two problems that I had with applications. So I had the Twitter progressive web app for Windows installed from the Microsoft Store. Now, this web app looks exactly the same as you will see if you open twitter.com in the browser. It's exactly the same because this is a progressive web app, a PWA. The issue that I had with it was that I was out with my notebook working without a power supply, and I hadn't actually noticed until I got home that the Twitter application had pretty much drained my battery down to almost zero, which meant I couldn't carry on working. Now, the PWA app that you download from the Microsoft Store, as it stands at the moment, uses the Edge HTML rendering engine, I should say. Now, this is obviously different from the rendering engine that the new Microsoft Edge that is based on Chromium is using. For whatever reason, there seems to be a bit of an issue with this PWA and the Edge HTML rendering engine, and it has very high CPU usage at times. So I decided, okay, so I'm tired of this issue because I end up with no battery left, kind of very unexpectedly, when the battery on my notebook should last between 3 or 4 hours under usual circumstances. And when this app is running in the background, quite often it will just last 30 or 40 minutes. So obviously it creates a bit of a problem. So I decided, okay, I'm going to install this Twitter PWA from inside the new Microsoft Edge as an app, instead of using the PWA from the Microsoft Store. Now, as I said, the only real difference is the rendering engine that it uses. And lo and behold, if I'm using this app from the managed app that's installed via Microsoft Edge, I don't have any problems with CPU usage. It works absolutely fine. So how do you actually install the Twitter PWA as an app from inside the new Microsoft Edge? It's really simple, but it's not very discoverable. So I'll put some screenshots on so you can understand what I'm talking about as I walk you through it. It's very simple. So all you need to do is open up the new Microsoft Edge browser. So you open the new web page, new tab. You type in twitter.com and then you go to the menu. Okay, I'm just going to open my browser here just to understand what the menu looks like. So it's the three dots that you see on the very far right hand side of the browser window. You open that menu and then you go to the app section, and all you have to do is click install this site as an app. And at this point it will give you the opportunity to give the app a name. Of course it will take the name from the header of the website, so Twitter or whatever, but you can modify it if you want. And then you just click OK in the dialog box and it's done. And it will then open up in a separate window and it will work like any other Windows app. If you then go to the Start menu, you will see that app appear at the top under Recently Added. And you can also, of course, there right click on it and pin it to the taskbar if that's what you want to do. So I recommend, for instance, instead of installing the Twitter PWA from the Microsoft Store and using the old Edge rendering engine, I recommend installing it via the new apps feature on the menu in the new Microsoft Edge browser, and this way you get to use the new and, in my opinion, superior rendering engine, and hopefully you won't have any problems with high CPU usage in Twitter. The other thing that led me to move more of my apps to this method in the Microsoft Edge browser this week were some frustrations with the UWP OneNote for Windows 10 app. Now, OneNote has a bit of a complicated history, or story I should say, at the moment on Windows 10. So if you remember, OneNote was originally part of the Office desktop suite of applications. It's still there. You can download it now. It kind of has to be downloaded separately, I think. But you can still download it and use it. But Microsoft are not developing this application any further. So it's getting no new features whatsoever. The new default app now is the OneNote for Windows 10 UWP app, which is of course the touch-friendly version of OneNote. Now I've tried to use it. I think it's a bit ugly, but the most important thing is that it's just unreliable. I was attending a meeting last week, started to create a new section in my notebook, started typing notes, turned away for about 5 seconds, and you know what? The new section has disappeared. I think I'm going crazy. Maybe it just got reordered in the set of sections there. Looked for it, couldn't find it. Created the section again. Fortunately, I hadn't typed much there. Created the section again. Again, within a few seconds, the section had disappeared. So I guess this is a synchronization issue. And for whatever reason, I just decided, okay, I'm really, really tired of these issues with the OneNote for Windows 10 UWP app, and decided enough is enough. In general, when there's a native app available, I prefer to use that over a website or a PWA. Now, I decided at that point, well, okay, now it's just time, I think, in order to avoid these synchronization issues with the desktop client or with the UWP app, whatever it happens to be, I'm just going to use OneNote in a browser. Now, OneNote in the browser is not a PWA, but that doesn't stop you from installing it as an app, okay? So you can do exactly the same thing. You can go to the Office portal, you can open OneNote, you can open the menu in Microsoft Edge, go to Apps and click Install this site as an app. And that's exactly what I've done, and that is now how I'm using OneNote on Windows 10. And I would recommend that you do the same. Of course, the big disadvantage of this method is, opposed to the full desktop app or even the UWP app, is that there's no offline access. So if there's no internet, you don't have access to your notes. So this is what you need to bear in mind when you're using the web version of OneNote. Maybe, of course, that will change at some point in the future. I'm not holding my breath for that functionality or for it even to be converted into a PWA. But if you just want to get on quickly and you have a reliable internet connection, I would recommend using it, using the web version and installing it as an app from within inside the new Microsoft Edge browser. Now, that's all I've got to say this week. Of course, there's lots happening in the Windows world. I know I haven't been very regular with these podcasts, but I just wanted to get that in there this week and make you aware of that feature. You can maybe show your users how to do it. And I think it's a great thing that's now going to be available. Of course, it's already available in Google Chrome if that's what you're using. It will become available in the new Edge. That will be part of Windows 10 at some point. You can already download the beta version, as I said, if you want to use it. I think it's definitely something users would like. I think it's just not very discoverable. I would like to see, for instance, when you go to a PWA, at least, that you get a little button in the browser window that you can see without opening the menu. You can say, install as application. I think that would be great, and many more people will be using this feature. Or, a notification banner that encourages you to install it as an application. Just something so that you can see this feature actually exists. But give it a go, and I hope that it's something that you can make use of. And it can also, help you to be a little bit more productive in terms of managing your windows and applications so that you can see that application separated from all those tabs that you have open in a browser window. Okay, that's it for me this week. Hope that was useful information, and hopefully catch you next week from some more Windows Business Weekly.